But I'm always a very positive guy, because you have to be.
Yeah.
Because as you know, when you come from sports, and most of my lessons are from sports. And so, in weightlifting, I learned very quickly that the only way that you can lift the weight is if you believe you can lift it. If you go and you have a weightlifting competition and you go out in front of thousands of people and the weight is there 400 pounds, let's say, and you look at it and you say, I can never lift that. It's not going to go up there by itself, trust me. So you got to go and say to yourself, I'm going to lift this weight no matter what. Because that's the only chance you have to really get it over your head. And the same is with this, with the environmental crusade. It's the same thing. You got to go and believe that we can do it, because then we can do it. If people are around there whining, I just came up with a t-shirt that says stop whining, because there's people that whine. And they'd always complain, well, there's oil companies, they're polluting the world, and these car companies are terrible, and this is terrible, and that is terrible. Well, stop whining. Stop whining and go and get off your chair and do something about it. It's all about action. The whining is not going to help you. I don't like when people sit in front of the television and just whine and say, oh, this is terrible and this is terrible. No, go out and do something about it. That's what it's all about. I've been on a fitness crusade my whole life. But it was all about learning how to communicate so people get interested in fitness. They thought in the old days when you show a guy on a muscle magazine and with huge muscles that would get people interested. No. That's only for a small percentage of people that are interested in bodybuilding, they want to compete. But the majority of people just want to be fit. So you have to kind of communicate in a different way to get people involved in the fitness crusade. And the same is also with the environmental crusade. We got to communicate differently and talk about the kind of things that are happening today. I think that fit is that when your heart is fit, when your lung is fit, when your body is fit, and your total body I'm talking about, is fit, meaning that you can, hike, that you can lift, that you can swim, that you can do all-around sports very well. I mean, that's being, fit. And we're not talking here about needing to compete or to win championships. That's again for a whole other group of people that use this as a motivation. They compete in the local kind of triathlon and the decathlon and all those kind of competitions. But I think that it should be the goal for everybody to be fit and to exercise every day.
As a kid, your music teacher said, you singer, forget it. Can you imagine a music teacher?
He didn't like my voice. Never let me enter the school choir. Yeah, that was a big frustration for me. Luckily, my dad was as stubborn as me, and he always encouraged me and said, no, your voice is amazing. Someday they will know. Because I had a very powerful vibrato, which I still, which I still keep. It's a very, I think a very signature thing of mine. But back in the day, it was kind of like a little disrupting for the rest of the choir. Right. So many of my classmates used to say, Shakira, you sing like a goat. I kind of do have a little goaty thing going on.
That's what the teacher said.
Well, yeah, but my parents were always there, insisting on the fact that I had to believe in me and in my dreams. So I really owe them my career, really.
More than that, genes. Every morning you should thank them for your genes. The other
no, genes are not that important. I mean, like Professor Heckman says, some genes can be actually activated can be triggered by the environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
environment is crucial.
My dad, he's a dreamer, an idealist, and he hasn't been quite the best business person. So we, at some point in our lives, when I was 7 years old, we lost pretty much everything we had. He was doing quite well with his jewelry business, but then he made a couple of bad decisions, and voila.
That's life.
Yeah, we had a financial crisis in our family, and my mom also wasn't doing very well with her own business, and things changed for us, and I never had a car ever again until I was able to buy my own when I was 15 with a fake license. But and
Did he know that?
Yeah, but yeah, well, no, an uncle helped me.
Okay.
You know, it's for us. Losing our financial stability was quite shocking and removed our grounds. But and for me it was quite an impact, you know, and I was very shocked by what was going on and seeing so many things change around me. And that they took me to the park where many orphans live in Barranquilla, in my hometown.
He took you to a park where orphans were.
Well, yeah, and these orphans usually they sniff glue or resort to things like to terrible things like those in order to survive the tragedy of their lives. You know. And they showed me that other reality, and it marked me forever. I never forgot that night, and it made me want to do something about it. And I made a promise to myself that day. And you know, being very, very little, I was only 7 years old, but I decided that day. I decided that I wanted to succeed in life. I needed to bring my family back. I needed to vindicate them socially and economically and someday, but I also wanted to do something about those kids. So my entire life, that image remained inside of me and accompanied me. And when I was able to have, you know, my big break in Latin America with my album Pies Descalzos, barefoot, translates barefoot, I decided to create my own foundation for children, and it was called right after my album as well. It's called Barefoot, the Barefoot Foundation. And since then we've been working for children and specifically providing them a high quality education.
I was born in a very poor family. I never got a great education. You know, I failed all the examinations. For what reason, I don't know. But later I realized I don't have money, I don't have technology, I don't have a lot of good backgrounds. We have a rich uncle or something, no. The only thing I competed with my people, the young people, is let's compete for 10 years later. This is what I believe 10 years later will be happening. So everything I do for that goal, I know 10 years later, this thing is going to happen. So prepare for that. Because I know if I compete with him for next month, no chance. I never thought I could be a CEO. I never thought later I'd become a good CEO. One of the things I learned is from teachers. As a teacher, very important character of a teacher is the teacher always expects his students better. I want this student to become a banker, that student to become a mayor, that guy is a scientist. This is all teachers want. If you don't have this kind of thinking, it's a terrible teacher. I was the first. I know nothing about technology. I know nothing about management. I know nothing about. But the only thing is that you don't have to know a lot of things. You have to find the people who are smarter than you are. My first way is always find people who knowledge on computer smarter than I am. Accounting smarter than. For so many years, I always try to find the people smarter than I am. And when you find so many smart people, my job is to making sure the smart people can work it together. And then if smart people can work it together, it's easier. The vision they'll believe. Because if stupid people can work it together easily, smart people can never work together.